Oh, guys, we have to talk about Condemned 2. It's not gonna be pretty. So, yesterday I was looking on Amazon, and it was the Prime streaming service, and I asked Amy if I could pick something to watch, and Amy said yes. This is, I think, where the first mistake was made. So, I'm scrolling along and I see one called The Bike Riders, and I say to myself, ooh, that looks like an interesting motorcycle movie, like a drama, a criminal thing. I keep going. That is where I made the mistake, because just a few videos later I come across it. I come across a jewel in the desert of my entertainment, Utah. For no good reason, I used Utah. And what is that, you might be asking? It's Condemned 2. This time, instead of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and excuse me while I open my non-branded soda, Stone Cold Steve Austin has been replaced with one, and it's gonna pop. Randy Orton. Randy Orton is a wrestler like Stone Cold. He's very tall, a wide individual, a thick boy, but in a positive way, if you will. And he plays team leader. I don't know his name. I think it was like Tanner something. It was Will Tanner. He plays team leader Will Tanner, because I went the entire movie making Will Turner jokes for Pirates of the Caribbean, and Amy was like, his name's not Turner, his name's Tanner. It's a good soda. His name's Tanner, it's not Turner. So I now will never forget his name, unless I forget it sometimes. So the movie begins with a bad group of dangerous individuals driving up in an SUV. And who's driving? I don't know who's driving. And then they all get out of the SUV and they go around to the back of the car, and then Will Tanner, team leader, shows up, and he's got like a name tag, and it's got his face, and it's got his name, and it's got like the specialty that he's part of, and his specialty is team leader. Another guy has a specialty of hand-to-hand combat. That man is bald. We will refer to him henceforth as the bald one, bald man, or bald guy. He is hand-to-hand combat. Then we have another one named, I want to say Scott. I don't think it's Scott though, but we're going to call it Scott. Scott, his specialty is explosions. He has a widow peak. Like, look at my hairline. Okay, you see my hairline? His was more severe than mine. So imagine, like if I'm your explosives specialist, like you could just check my hair and be like, are you sure he's not a little long in the tooth to be the explosive specialist over here? Check all of his fingers. That's actually how you tell if someone's a good explosive specialist or not. You gotta count the digits. If they got more than 10, they're like PhD level explosive specialists. 10, they're good at handling explosives. Less than 10, discount a point for every lost digit. That's how you can tell, whenever you're building your bounty hunter gang, which ones are the good explosive specialists. You count the fingers. So Scotty is the explosive specialist, and he is all like, no incendiaries, not necessary for this mission. That one who was speaking just now, this guy right here, that's Randy Orton. This is my Will Tanner voice. So Will Tanner has this voice. This is the Duke of Alex. Speaking of which, welcome to the Duke of Alex. Hey everybody, hi all. Like, subscribe, do that stuff. Watch the video, that's the most important part. Have fun, have a good time. I'm just happy you showed up to listen to me rant about Condemned 2 to the sweet soundtracks of reggae down below. So, we're going to continue on to the next member of the group. This one's name is Travis. Travis is a sniper, and he's a cool guy. He's wearing shades, and it's nighttime, and he's a sniper. Okay, cool. The marksman, the sniper. And the last guy, communications. Last guy is going to be named First to Die, and he's communications. So, I don't know what communications would do. I mean, is he like their electrician? Does he do that part? Because, like, they don't have an electrician, and I reckon a group of bounty hunters might want an electrician. I don't know. Anyway, he's communication. So they all click up, and they're here. We're going after a 61-year-old Ecuadorian gang leader who runs an illicit gambling ring. And so inside the building, I've neglected to inform you, there is interspliced with this gang getting ready. And also, the cinematographer for this movie, they fired the last guy because they were like, you did too many Dutch angles and you did too many standard shots where the camera was positioned. And also, we wasted a lot of money on post-production. So you're fired, cinematography guy. Also, you said you had a nephew graduating from film school. He just got into film school. Could you leave his contact information on your way out? Fine. Call Filet. And so then they call Filet. Filet is a first-year film student who gets the job of a lifetime to film Condemned 2. How much do they pay him? In the absolute joy of fetching Randy Orton's coffee. You get to film this movie, and you get to buy Randy Orton. Is his name Randy Orton? Orphan? Orton. I don't know. As much coffee as he can humanly drink. And Randy Orton is a shaved yeti of a man. He can drink a lot of coffee. That's what I mean by that. Also, he's got a lot of bone. You're gonna see as the movie goes on. They intersperse our crack team of bounty hunters with these images of inside a warehouse that is dimly lit, and the lights are positioned in the floor, and they're all shining up, giving everybody weird shadow faces. I can't do a shadow face because there's not a light. I'm gonna do a shadow face. You give me a second. I'll give you the shadow face you deserve. So the lights are all giving people weird shadow faces as they're talking. Oh my god, I gotta figure out how to. I don't know how to do that. That's so strange. Anyway, it's got bright lights. They got shadows on their faces, but they're going the opposite way. And he's talking to, like, his second in command, and he's screaming at the people, and he goes, place your bets now on who dies first, because they have dudes strapped to a table, and they're injecting the guys with poison. So far, we have a warehouse full of first-degree murderers, because they are betting on which one of the two, also probably, and it might sound callous. I apologize. It's going to sound callous. I'm not going to bet on that. Like, that's not exciting. I mean, these are two people. One of them's going to die. I guess that has some kind of thing there, but, like, they're not fighting each other for your enjoyment. This isn't, what's the name of that movie where they had to combine the gym and the karate? Gym karate? And then it had a kata? Gymkata. This isn't Gymkata. If it was Gymkata, I'd be riveted. I'd be there. I mean, I might be on the floor. Bet. I mean, I don't have a lot of money to bet, but I'll throw down a little. I'll put my hat on the table. We'll see if they take that. I don't think they will, but we'll try it. It's all fun. You just have fun watching Gymkata people fight to the death. But this is just two people, and they're being injected with what I can only assume is a kill drug. So even if you are the one who dies faster, you lose, which I think it might be the opposite. Which one's going to give out first would be, because you're watching, I don't, you know what, we're getting into the semantics of evil people. Why would you want me to explain that in great detail? So anyway, they're killing these people, and he's screaming at them, make your bets now, be famous, be financially secure, don't spend the money. Do an envelope system. Put the money in envelopes, and then write on this one's for groceries, and this one's for my rent, and then when you don't have money left over at the end of the month, you don't eat out. Okay, that's not this guy betting on people's lives. That's that dude who runs the the Pharaoh guy, Daniel Pharaoh. He runs all those podcasts. I don't know. We were discussing the gang of bounty hunters, and this gang of bounty hunters, the marksman, the hand-to-hand combat specialist. Why are you there? Everyone should be a hand-to-hand combat specialist. The electrician, the guy who has a problem with explosives. He concerns me. It feels like he should be on a list. Can you see my hand? I can't. My hand disappears if I put it on the white background there. It just fades in. I can't see on the screen where my hand is. I have to have my hand contrasted with my shirt. And then there we go. Now I can see that I'm holding out the 5. Cool. This is the way I wanted to hold that hand. I just can't see how you see my hand. Anyway. Why are we discussing things again? You're distracting me. Myself. They're going in to get the guy who's belittling his second in command, and his second in command is a Mexican American actor. His name is Steve. The name Gimli is coming to mind, but that's a dwarf in Lord of the Rings. So I don't know what his last Steve Gomez. And I got that because I said Gimli. Then in my mind I said Gimli Gomez, and I said no, his name's not Gimli Gomez, the dwarf in Lord of the Rings. The actor in this movie is named Steve Gomez, and just because his last name began with G, I associated that most with Gimli. What does that say about me as a nerd? Then they decide that they are going to go in and get out the head in command guy. Not Steve Gimli, he's the second in command, the head command guy. And that's the 61-year-old who is wanted on all these strange gambling crimes. What are the gambling crimes? Really, you should be concerned with him in there murdering people, because he's got 2 bodies strapped to a table, IV-fed poison. But it doesn't seem like they're interested in that. They go in, and they're like, where's he at? Where is he? And he's looking around for the guy. And I'm like, grab any of those people. Well, welcome to the proverbial hen house, you foxes. Each one of you should just arrest one of those people, and you would have arrested a bad person. Like, sure, you're here to get that 61-year-old. But you just let that billionaire criminal from South Korea run out the back door. And also the one from North Korea ran out the back door. And you guys were just distracted by that old man who can't run as fast as everybody else here because he's 61 years old. And I don't think he's like a Sylvester Stallone 61. Although if you've seen King of Tulsa King with Stallone, sorry, I'm doing it again. He moves very slowly. He is fit. And I'll tell you, that action scene he does, smashing that, if you just watch it, it's phenomenal. And at his age, still doing those action scenes, it's great. But he moves everywhere slowly. And that's an important thing. I mean, you just have to. When I'm that age, when I'm post-70, I'm going to move everywhere slowly. I move everywhere slowly as it is, and I still run into stuff. But that's more to me doing blind stuff than anything else. That is good soda. So, they go in, then team leader gets up there and he's like gonna fight the 61-year-old, and he tells them before they even go in, if you see him, shoot him in the knees, we need him alive. So he goes in there, he's gonna fight the 61-year-old, and I go, what is his specialty? Because I didn't know yet this was team leader. And Amy says, my wife, she says, well, I hope his specialty wasn't holding on to his gun, because he dropped it about 3 steps ago. And we laughed so hard. It was such a good joke, and it's such a good way to encapsulate what's going on here. It feels like a bunch of amateurs on their first outing, but we're being led to believe this is like a hardened group of professionals, and they have like everything down to the point where somebody paid Filet. If you forgot, Filet was our film guy with the handycam, and he's still handycamming it up. And Filet has also made them name cards, which in universe I like to think show up when you become a professional gang of bounty hunters. You get name cards when people see you walking around. That's really cool, actually. And tonight I had a very good idea of a series of short stories written about a man who cannot tell the difference between television and real life. And so he lives his life like a movie, and he watches movies like they're in real life, but he turns into sort of a sociopath because he gets in the loop where he thinks everything's the movie, because every time he watches movies and he can't tell the difference between them in real life, so he watches tragedy in real life and it doesn't affect him as much. It's a great idea. I got them in here. But we were discussing team leader fighting hand-to-hand combat with the 61-year-old, and they fight, and the 61-year-old like trips. I can only assume his hip was shattered. His hip just blew itself out. It was a horrible, it was like when you see like a race car and the entire back of the race car just like explodes with the wheel blowing up. And that's, I imagine, what happened to this old man's hip as he's fighting team leader, who is a 6'5" shaved Yeti Randy Orton. So it's just this Bigfoot has thusly, crashed in on your murder party, Don't forget, they're murdering people. And now he's fighting you, and you fall back, and you're impaled on a pipe. Then Bigfoot gets arrested. And Bigfoot, we jump hard cut to him getting arrested, to him in a courtroom, accepting a plea deal. I'm a law student. And we're going to discuss this courtroom scene at the end, because the Bigfoot Randy over here, Randy Bigfoot Orton, I'm going to call him Bigfoot moving forward. Oh, BF Bigfoot. He infiltrated a ring of murderers. He killed the man responsible for killing two other... That guy is 100% gonna not be found guilty of anything. And yet he accepts a plea deal for 2 years for manslaughter, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna prolong those 2 years. You can serve them out, whatever that word is, and then you got 10 years probation. I was like, dude, that is so much worse. I would have been like, Honor, give me 12 months. Hard time, free and clear. Done deal. I'll do it. I'm sorry. Something like that. Because that 10 years probation, that's how they get you. They get you on the probation. This is not legal advice. This is a review and a total spoiler for the movie The Condemned 2. Which, guys, at this point in the movie, I'm waiting. I'm waiting to go to a tropical island, and I'm so naive. Oh, how foolish of me. To think they would have done what worked the first time, second time. To think they would have said, how can we do this exact same story, but do it better? No. No, dear viewer. My Yemeknights, that's what I'm calling my fan group. That's you. You're the fan group. You're officially the Yemeknights. It's because I advertise in Yemen, and I have no idea if people from Yemen watch. So now I'm just going to make everyone a Yemeknight. And it's spelled Yemeknight. Super cool. You're welcome. Yemeknight. So, if you send me money somehow in the future, I will send you like your Yemeknight certificate that makes you an official Yemeknight. We'll have an order of the Yemeknights. That'll be cool. So, this guy takes his 2 years, and he takes his 10 years probation, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, he has a terrible attorney. And even the judge is like, I don't like bounty hunters. I don't like you. Don't spit on my sidewalk or I'm going to throw you back in jail. And I was like, she doesn't like bounty hunters. I mean, this guy just like literally shut down a murder betting ring, and everybody's treating him like the criminal. He just saved countless numbers of people whose lives would have been betted on in the future. I'm sure. Maybe. Who knows? But anyway, the second in command escaped, and that's the important part. So, if you're at all interested in this movie, and if you are, what are you doing here? Who are you? Leave a comment down below. I need to interview you, because you're not my target market, but I'm excited you're here. I'm interested in what drew you to this movie, and I need to pick your brain because I believe it's socially important to so many people. I can't stress it enough. So if you're a fan of the movie, please let me know. For the rest of you, and for me, this movie don't watch it. Don't watch it. I'll sum it up to you in just a quick little blurb. What happens when you have a bulletproof man and you love explosions? And if that's like, I'm kind of intrigued now. Go watch the movie. It's for you. Cool. I'm happy. I'm happy for you. For everybody else, we're going along. We're just riding this wave. So, he goes and he sees his dad. His dad's played by, I don't know, Gary Busey. Somebody like that. So his dad says, I can't believe I gave my piss poor son, my pissant son, the family business, and he pissed it away. That's because you gave up, because you're always giving up on things. And he's like, Dad, you just don't understand. No, you don't understand. And then that was the interaction with the father. So the son then goes to a junkyard. He talks to a woman who owns the junkyard, and she gives him a tow truck. Okay, well now he's got a tow truck. So we have this little montage, but I don't ever see him like towing things. I just see him like looking at people, or I see people and maybe him. I don't know. Randy Orton, as big as this guy is, as much of a Bigfoot as he is, very forgettable. I called him during this movie. I referred to him as a Michael Cena, Jesse Cena, John Cena, and Joseph Cena, and I cannot tell you which one of those names. Oh, and Mike Cena. Which one of those names is the actual actor whose last name is Cena? I can't tell you that, but I can tell you this: he might have just Randy Orton is a proto Cena. That's what it is. They had Randy Orton. They're like, okay, we got something, guys. But what we need is somebody. Not this. We don't need this. This isn't what we need. We swing and a miss the first time. Swing and a miss the second time. If Condemned 3 has blank Cena in it, I'm not gonna eat my hat, but I'll say the words. I'm gonna eat my hat, but I'm not gonna do that. So he gets the tow truck and he gets a call. Somebody's broke down on the interstate, and he's like, 10-4, I got you. I'm on my way. 10 minutes out. I was like, you don't even know where they are. Woman just said, like, somebody on the interstate I-10 broke down. Oh, 10 minutes out. I'm like, is it North I-10 or South I-10? Or are you just going to figure that out when you get there? Also, did you memorize where mile marker I-10 is? I reckon it would take at least like 7-8 weeks to get your mile markers memorized. I've never been a tow truck driver. So he goes out there and he's towing this truck, but he shows up and oh my gosh, it's somebody from his old crew. It's old communications, first to die. You wonder why I call him first to die. Well, it's because he's going to be he's going to be the first one to die is why I was calling him first to die. We could also call him Abel, if that makes you feel better. And we can call Randy Orton Kane. But that gives him way too cool of a nickname. He is Bigfoot. That's his nickname. Bigfoot. We're not calling him Kane. I mean, so, he meets his friend, and the friend's all like, then he fixes the friend's battery, and the friend keeps looking up. And the friend's concerned. He keeps looking up. And from up above, we got a drone that's looking down. And so we're like, ooh, somebody's watching them do this. I bet it has something to do with that death gambling. The one thing they decided to keep from the first movie, but they got rid of the concept of the bombs and the island. What? I didn't show up to your movie because I wanted to watch Stone Cold Steve Austin kill people on an island. Shut up for your movie because people were dying on an island and it was competition. And that's like the taglines that met my criteria for a movie that rips off Battle Royale. Now I'm showing up to the second movie and you took away my island and you took away my bombs. Maybe they were sued due to the first movie. I mean, very similar. They were like, let's put the bombs on their feet and they won't sue us. They still sued you. I don't know. So anyway, because in Battle Royale, they had the bombs around their necks. So changing the appendage changes everything, right? We have I bet you could... Okay, I'm sorry. We'll move on. I was like, I bet you could survive having your foot blown off. I don't know. Anyway. So his friend's like, let's go get a beer. And he was like, oh, your battery was loose. What? This is your electrician. The communications expert. Radio guy. That's an electricity thing. You should see the writing on the wall. He keeps looking up all the time. This is weird. But old Bigfoot just thinks it's a happy coinkydink. So he's going to go have a beer with this guy. So they go to a cantina and they get a beer. And it is grimy. It is like they found an abandoned shed on the side of an interstate and they paid them $200. They're going to film there for a day. They didn't even turn on the power. They just ran electrical cords, put lights in there. We're going to ADR some jukebox in the background. You guys got it. Go for it. And so they went for it. And this guy gets a text and says, do it now. And so he decides, like, I'm sorry, Bigfoot. Pulls out his little gun. Just misses everything. And Randy Orton like flips over backwards, jumps behind a bar, somersaults through the air, climbs the wall, falls back down. I don't even know what's happening. And he's like, you don't have to do this. What's going on? Who got to you? And his friend's all like, I gotta do this. And he's holding the friend, and the friend's like struggling with the gun, and he's pointing it at Randy's face, and he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. And the guy's and then Randy's just all like, cock. Oh, I can't believe you made me do that. And he pushes up, and he gets off, and he's just traumatized. He just had to kill communications. Oh, first to die, electrician guy. Couldn't even hook up his own battery. Now it's starting to seem fishy. Well, cut to hard cut again, right? Fantastic. Well done, Filet. He did the post. He did everything. McCammon, the owner of the WWF or whatever it's called now. WCW, WFW, something like that. WF. The owner, the McCammon guy. He's man. All I'm going to say about that. So he's outside, he's being interviewed by the police. And the police were like, you were just convicted of manslaughter, weren't you, Mr. Orton? And Bigfoot was like, yeah, was. And he's like, no, your story checks out, but there's a dead man in there. Someone's got to pay for it. I'm like, yeah, arrest him. He was just convicted of manslaughter. And here's the thing. I don't know if you know how parole works, but even though he's serving his 2 years and then he's going to like go on parole, I don't think while you're serving those 2 years you can have a beer. I think parole pretty much everywhere. Now, I might be wrong. Not legal advice. There you go. I could be completely wrong. But I'd say you can't have alcohol if you're on parole. That's one of the things I would just assume. So, officer, he just broke his parole. I'm pretty sure you should take him into custody. But you know what? He just got out. You know, you don't want to ruin this guy's day. We're all good Texans here. Many men and women will die because of that officer's choice to let Bigfoot bloodshed Orton go. Many. Let's count. One so far, but that one couldn't have been helped. We're not going to blame Officer Dan for the first. I'll blame him for the next 7. Yeah, there might actually be 7. That was some good math, dude. So, Randy gets picked up by his dad, and old bloodshed Bigfoot goes back with his dad to their ranch garage / trailer park in the middle of nowhere / beautiful home. I don't know where they live. I didn't see it. I don't know. And he gets out of the truck, and oh my God, another friend. Oh my God, look at this. This is the other guy from our group, the one I forgot to mention, because I mentioned hand-to-hand combat specialist, explosives, Travis the shooter, and McGuffin Deadman, communications electrician, and then team leader. This is the 6th dude. This is the one that I didn't mention previously, the thumb over here. This guy's name is, we'll call him Raccoon, because he's a trash panda, because he's a bad person. So we'll call this guy Trash Panda. So Trash Panda's waiting for him, and he gets there, and maybe it's the driver. Could it be the driver? Maybe. I don't know. Raccoon. I like Raccoon. We're sticking with it. Raccoon's waiting for him, and he gets there, and he's like, hey, man, I just, it's so crazy bumping into you, man, bro, hug, slap the back. I just saw, like, Kevin, like, a minute ago, and then I murdered him. I looked into his eyes, and I said, don't. And he looked in my eyes, he said, no. And I said, ugh. And he murdered Kevin. Or Keith. He had a K name, didn't he? I don't know. Communications guy. First to die. So in a nutshell, he says, I know I saw him last night. What? And the dad is the only one smart here, because old Bigfoot's like, but you saw him last night. I just killed him. Dude, we're living in the strangest timeline. And the dad's like, poof, poof. You need to stop. Put your hands up. He's carrying a gun. Get the gun. He just like pulls out a gun. And he's holding this guy at gunpoint. Remember, the dad was like an old bounty hunter dude. So the dad takes his gun, and the guy's like, I can explain everything. I need you to come with me. And the guy's like, yeah, of course. So Bigfoot gets in the car, and the dad's like, dude, this is a bad idea. Don't go with him. This is bad. That's bad. This is all bad. This stinks. Something about this is smelly. And Randy Orton's like, Dad, I need to live my own life. And he slams the door, and his dad's all like, you can't. Teenagers, am I right? When they hit 47 or however old Randy Orton is in this film, they just get, wild and crazy. I let him go with his private investigator friend out in the middle of the desert for no apparent reason. This will really help him turn his life around. So Randy Orton drives off, and as they're driving along, middle of nowhere, the bounty hunter guy goes, here, you got to be here by 5 o'clock. And he gives Randy Orton a map. And Randy Orton's like, why'd you give me this laminated map that has like a circle drawn around it and coordinates and exact, if you flip it over, it has like instructions, like an ingredient list on how to, start walking east and then stare directly at the sun for 30 minutes. And then in your blinded stupor, spin around 4 times and then walk forward for 3 miles and you'll reach the secret gambling hideout of Esteban Raul, who is Steve Gomez. Who's Esteban? I remember somebody's named Esteban. I don't remember who's Esteban. Raul is the main bad guy, played by Steve Gomez, not Gimli. So you have to do all those things. The guy, don't stare at the sun. That's how you go blind. Take it from a blind man. There you go. It's me, my older brother, and old DJT, because he was staring at the sun too. That's not good. So they're gonna go to the gambling place, but before they do, the guy goes, "I'm so sorry, team leader," and he pulls a gun. He tries to shoot team leader. Now they're fighting. Oh my god, it's crazy. The car's wild while it's driving. It's making the screechy sounds and spinning around the road. And then they pull over. The guy dives out, Raccoon, the trunk pops open, and Raccoon grabs something and runs away. And then Randy Orton grabs something and runs away after Raccoon. And now they're going to fight to the death, because it's him and it's Raccoon. And he has a machine gun and Raccoon has a shotgun. Not the first shotgun in the movie. Not the best shotgun in the movie. That will come slightly later. So, Randy and him are facing off. And they're fighting, and Randy's shooting at him, and he's shooting at Randy, and he's like, "Why did you turn?" And then Raul's like, "They're gonna kill me. They threatened my life." And Raul's like, "Who? You can tell me. I'll help you." And I really, really need to get puppets. I wonder, does anyone know where I can buy a Randy Orton sock puppet, or how I can make one? I'll task my daughters with that. I'll see if I can't get sock puppets for Condemned 3. Please let there be a third. If not, I'll do the Marine, and I know there's like 5 Marine movies. So we're going to do the entire WCW, just the entire library. I hope you are ready for this. Eventually, we're going to get to Jesse Cena, or, John Cena, or Mike Cena. We're going to get to one of the Cena brothers, and that's where it'll start getting fun. So we have Bigfoot, who is running in the... Long story short, he shoots Raccoon. Raccoon dies. But Raccoon shoots him in the chest somewhere. And now that he's been shot, he's like, it feels horrible. And then a bull's like, and a big little explosion of dirt. And you're like, oh, that was a serious caliber. That wasn't your granny's 30-06. That was a 50 cal right there. And sure enough, up on the mesa somewhere is Travis, and he's looking back to his scope. Now he's already missed once. Okay, that's what's this guy's name is Marksman Travis the Sniper. Dwight. He's got a nickname. They call him the Reaper. He's gonna fire that gun maybe 30 times, maybe 40 times in this movie. He's gonna miss every single time but one beautiful time. And it's horrible and tragic. But in that one time, Mike, Travis, the Sniper Reaper Dwight found something inside him. We'll talk about it. For now, he's going to miss Proto Cena a lot. And Proto Cena is going to dance around and dodge around, which will elicit from my wife at some point, didn't he just get shot? Like, doesn't he have a bullet hole in him right now? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I think he was shot in the upper... And she's like, yeah, he was shot in the upper shoulder. Huh, yeah, he's just doing things. Okay. So, he's dodging around, and all of a sudden, a Jeep pulls up, and a female officer gets out. We have fired maybe 15, maybe 20 shots. And Travis is feeling really down on himself. He is like the brave little toaster that could go up the hill because it was a train, and it just kept trying. The brave little train, the little train who could, the chug-a-lug that made it up the hill. Do you remember that story from when you're a child? He's gonna be that, but he's gonna be that with a 50 caliber sniper rifle and a new target, because now a female officer has left the squad car, left the door open. It's just, you're gonna let the AC out. I'm not gonna tell you how to manage your car, but I mean, I think it'd be more efficient for gas purposes. It'd be more efficient if the AC wasn't all let out all at one time. Although, maybe opening the door just for a moment. I just think it'd be wasteful. That's all I'm saying. So she leaves the door open, and my old man brain was just like, that's, you're gonna be paying for that next time you fill up at the gas tank. And yeah, one time, not the end of the world, but it's a hot habit. It's a habit forming behavior. You're going to do it multiple times a week is what I'm saying. So you stack it up over a whole year, paying an extra $10, $12 in gasoline. That's all I'm saying about it. But you want it, she gets shot in the back. Travis just blows her chest out with a 50 caliber shot directly to center mass. And I'm like, why couldn't you have done that to Cena over here? Man, now I think this guy is Cena. In my brain, his face has melded into John Cena's. Is his name John Cena? Did I get it? Cool. So anyway, Cena over here is getting shot at, but he keeps missing Cena, and he blows Orton. Keeps missing Orton, and he blows away this police officer. It's a very sad scene. She dies. Then John jumps under the cruiser, and then somebody drives up. The person who drives up is the hand-to-hand specialist, Baldy. I'm going to call him moving forward Hench, because he's like a henchman. So Hench drives up, and Randy Orton's like, what are you doing? Get down. And the guy's like, get in the Jeep. I can't trust you. You can trust me. Okay, fine. I'll get in the Jeep this time. So then he runs out of there. Now, he's already put his life at risk 2 times. And the second time, even his dad was like, hey, don't trust this person. This guy's sketch, dude. Now, this guy shows up to save you from the sniper, and the sniper's going to shoot at this guy's vehicle as well, but he misses every shot. And I just don't... I'm like, Amy, is he shooting at that truck? And Amy's like, yeah, he's shooting the truck. He's actively shooting at him. I'm like, why aren't they dead? And Amy's like, because he's a terrible sniper. I was like, why did they call him marksman? Did you just get to choose? Because I'd be driver. I'd show up with my blind cane, and I'm like, is everybody ready? Let's do this. I'm getaway. And they're like, dude, you can't drive. You're blind. I'm like, no, I live in a magic world where I get to choose what I do. And I'm the driver, regardless of my vision. And the same thing occurs. It's just me driving into walls and other vehicles. That would actually be amazing. I was thinking we could also have the explosive specialist be somebody's just carrying around a garbage bag full of like fireworks and M80s, and he's missing some fingers. Remember, that's how you can tell the good ones from the bad ones. And then you have the hand-to-hand combat guy who's moving around with like the whistle that you blow in with the special chairs. It's just the funny part is they're just doing what they want to do, and what they dream of doing, not necessarily what their best skill set is. Like, maybe sniper guy is better at team leading than team leader guy. I mean, sniper guy's got persistence and stick-to-itness. He's got what do you call that? Perseverance. He's got perseverance. I'm just saying, I think Travis is technically, and I'll make a good case for this at the end, technically the hero of the story. So, as we continue, Cena and Hench drive away, and they make it back to a Hench's trailer. Now, Hench's trailer is in the middle of nowhere, and they go into Hench's trailer, and Hench is going to drop some beautiful, sticky icky exposition here. Fill us in on some backstories. Now, we also have our first sighting. Again, we've had more drone sightings, but we have our first cut to an underground gambling ring. Yep, they've been underground gambling this whole time. They didn't even stop gambling. They just like looked at the dead guy and they were like, the cops are like, what are you guys? And he's like, we're a group of guys who get together every Thursday and we pretend that this is a casino and this is where we tell our wives we're going, and then I'd really just not like to get into it. And the police officer was just like, yeah, okay, we're just going to take his body, okay? You guys going to get this cleaned up? Yeah, we got it. Okay, spread some bleach around. Bye, y'all. Out. I'm going to arrest these 5. Is that cool? And they're like, yeah, arrest all the SWAT team dudes that aren't SWAT team. And they're like, yeah, we'll just do that. And then they just continued, seemingly in the same building, seemingly in the same place. They just talked their way out of it. And the second in command becomes the first in command. And he keeps telling the drone guy, I need to get closer. And he's got to get closer, guys. So he's telling him all about this. He goes, Raul showed up, and Raul put a gun in my mouth and told me that he was going to kill me unless I kill you. And then they have this place they want us to go at 5 o'clock. And the person who gets there gets to live. And I'm like, the person who gets to that spot at 5 o'clock, after one of you kills the other 4, gets to get shot in the head and left behind. Because that is the reward. I'm a blind man can see that you are going to deliver yourself for execution. It's terrible. Also, why would you... And this guy just threatened to kill you? Like he did nothing else? You were supposed to be part of a crack team of bounty hunters. Some dude shows up and threatens you with a gun. I don't care if he shows up with like 5 other dudes. Maybe if he showed up with like 75 other dudes. And like all of those guys dug like a really deep hole around your building, your trailer out in the middle of nowhere in like less than a flippin' hour. Like you're sitting there and you're watching 75 men move the earth and then build a little bridge across it and then fill that area with like black plastic and then a moat and then release koi fish and then the leader of them rolls like looking at you this whole time with his crazy eyes because he's got crazy eyes just looking at you and he says, if we can bring this much beauty into the world in an hour, imagine what I can do to burn your life down if you don't bring me the head of Cena. And then he like snaps his head back on, and then everybody silently gets in their vehicles. That would scare the shit out of me. I'd be shitting bricks. I'd look down at my koi fish. I would realize I have a koi fish moat. They built this in less than an hour. They did it very well. They removed all the extra sand they dug up. This is the middle of the desert. These koi fish are gonna die. They built this just to dissipate away and fill with sand and be completely unrecognizable. They built something that is intended to be covered up and destroyed. They built something beautiful that is fragile and only around for a short period of time. They all spent an hour doing that. They're willing to do that with their spare time? How bad are they gonna hurt you, you know? They're gonna hurt your soul. It's gonna be bad. So that sort of thing, that's what would get me worried. This guy, he took one gun, he's worried. And so he tells John Cena, we got to show up there by 5 p.m. Only one of us can show up, and that person gets to live. And John Cena's all like, that's going to be me. Do you intend to kill me or anything else? And he goes, no, here. And he gives him a gun. He goes, what's this? It's the gun Raul told me. It's had its numbers filed off. It's definitely, if you're found with that weapon, like a quintuple felony. Just like you just get 5. That gun is like a scratch-off ticket, but the scratch-off is a negative $150 million or 3 life sentences to be served consecutively. You know, it's not a good thing to be handed. And yet he's handed it, and he's like, oh, thanks. You're not going to use it on me, right? And the guy's like, no. Also, this is hand-to-hand specialist guy. Why would he need a gun? He's the hand-to-hand specialist. So far, His one ally is hand-to-hand specialist. His only skill that we've seen is he can push people over so they impale themselves, and he can lose a gun. He's just really good at losing a gun. And it's debatable if he even touched the dude the first time who killed himself. That dude may have just tripped because his hip exploded because he's so old. He was nothing but a bag of dust beforehand. And then, he fell in that pipe or whatever. Bag of dust. That's bad. So we have Cena, and he's talking to Baldy, and then all of a sudden, a bullet just like hammers through the trailer wall, and they're like, oh no, what's that guy's name? Marksman, Reaper found us, sniper guy, Travis. And so what I was hoping is Bigfoot was going to like run this way and then hit the wall and like turn the trailer over and then turn the trailer over and then turn the trailer over, like completely destroying this guy's home, but like saving them because he's moving the trailer slightly down the hill that it was built atop, and then that would have guarded them from the sniper. And he's like, we got a moment. But they didn't do that. It would have been awesome. They didn't do that. Instead, they get out and the bullet punctures the thing, and all of a sudden you hear gas leaking, and it's like, oh no. And I'm like, why did you have a natural gas hookup or a propane tank, it might be, connected to your, I don't know how mobile homes in the middle of the desert work. And he didn't even have a quarry pond. So the thing blows up. That's the first big explosion, not the last big explosion of this film. They just ripped the lid off the explosives budget, because Filet, he has to buy coffee for Mr. Cena. But yeah, yes, we have just decided Randy Orton is now Mike Cena, John's younger brother or older brother. Maybe older brother, because they needed a younger, hotter Cena to then go on and do the Marine. So it's Mike Cena. So he's going to have the honor of buying Mr. Cena coffee and shooting all of the angles. Just him and one drone, which when this movie was made was like new hot technology. People were just hearing about drones. So keep that in mind. Now, we have Cena and Baldy get in a truck and flee. So they run away, but then they get shot. The truck gets shot, and it doesn't blow up, but I think it hits the gas line. So the truck's low on gas. It's leaking gasoline. And they drive up. Oh, how convenient, a gas station. And I turn to Amy. I'm like, that's why they call them convenience stores. She asked me not to speak to her for a little while. So then we watch them as they run into the convenience store, and they're waiting for Travis to catch up with them. And while they're in the store, they have their guns out, and the guy shoots at the scene. Pop, pop. Oh, you guys got to get down. And I'm like, you're being nice, but it feels like you're robbing the place. Oh, it's a pretty funny scene, because the woman behind the counter thinks he's robbing the place too. She pulls out a shotgun. Oh, gun rules apply. Her gun, bigger than your gun. She wins. And so John Cena's like, she's like, drop it. And he drops it. And she's like, I'm going to call the police. And so she like moves over to a phone. And then she reaches down to the phone. She puts the phone up, and she's still got the shotgun. She's kind of looking at him with the shotgun like this way. And then she's got the phone there. 9, 1. And the whole time she's like using the dial phone to dial, and it has to go back. John Cena's just moving closer, Mike Cena, and then he just snatches the shotgun from her. And he walks backwards. Sorry about that. And then he gets it. I'm like, it's bad. It's so bad. It's not funny bad. It's not so bad it's good. It's they didn't know how to do that scene, and then they were given, Bigfoot Mike Cena, and he's just not his brother. He can't emote. He doesn't have the grace of the body movement. He does everything over exaggerated like he's a cartoon character. He's a big old cartoon character. This needed to be a comedy on an island, and they should have had bombs. I mean, give me an eyebrow ring that's also a bomb. And you're like, what happens if it goes off? You might lose an eye. I mean, that's bad. Don't get me wrong. But we're not going to die. You could, maybe if having one of your eyes get agitated doesn't kill you. Yeah, it won't. I'm not 100% sure on that. Like, I can see there'd be some calculations. Maybe, maybe some sinus issues caused, but not death. Anyway. He snatches the shotgun. He, rips the phone out of the wall. I don't know what happens to the phone, but they start getting shot at. And it's like, oh no, Travis is here. Well, lo and behold, at some point, he had done something. I don't even know. They get away from the gas station. Travis is just zipping around in a dune buggy with the sniper rifle off the side of the dune buggy, and he's got a machine gun, and he's shooting at him and shooting at him and shooting at him different ways, and it's cool. It's kind of cool, actually. They just wanted a guy in a dune buggy with guns. Again, Travis is kind of leading the pack on this. He's a great threat. Now, he's a terrible sniper. Yeah, but he got that lady that one time. Got her right in the back. And, yeah, he can't hit them with the machine gun. But he can shoot it from a moving dune buggy. I don't think I'd be able to multitask like that. I'm just saying. So they get away, and they drive away in the truck. A new truck. A different truck, I can only assume. And the gas station, maybe it blows up. And the woman's, left there, and she's got her shotgun. And she's like, gas station blew up. I hate this. Ugh. Sucks. And then she's goes home because, her gas station blew up. She can't punch out of the clock. The thing's blown up, That's not how unblown things work. Once the thing's blown up, you get credit for the whole day. I'm sure that somewhere in her, what do you call those? Where there's a group of workers and they unite. They're going to stick together no matter what. They're going to do picket lines. And then every now and again a scabby works his way through. And they pivot and have the little signs. And you go to the meetings. And you have lodges. Jesus, I know everything but the name of the actual thing I'm trying to hunt down here. It's part of a group. A coal miners union. There we go. You're part of the union. And so that's just it. The gas station union, if your gas station explodes, you get a whole day. Hell, they give you the rest of the week. Not next week. You're out of a job. Go down to the unemployment office, but you get the rest of this week. Lord help you if your gas station blows up on a Friday, unless you were scheduled to work overtime on Saturday and Sunday, in which case, excellent. But even better if it happens on a Monday. Anyway, enough said. Read your gas station union handbooks for more information on that. They're driving along, and all of a sudden the truck stops, and it pulls over to the side, and there is a trip line, and the trip line's pulled by the truck, and so Mike Cena walks over to it and leans down and disarms the bomb. Ooh, this guy can disarm explosives. Or maybe their explosives expert sucks. Yes, again, somebody who's not good at their job just said, I like making things go boom. Sometimes I pour a lot of gasoline into a paint can and then I shoot Roman candles at it until something happens. That guy, the pyromaniac we all knew growing up, is their explosives expert, and his name is Scotty. So, they're tracking the explosives expert, and then the guy steps on a mine, and he disarms the mine because the explosives expert is bad at his job, and there isn't a secondary detonation somewhere, or a secondary mine. It's just, there's, you have, I'm not going to explain the finer points of it. You get what I'm saying. It's just bad. He's just bad at his job. So explosions all over the valley, and they're running along, and I'm thinking to myself, somewhere is a father-son duo sitting there in t-shirts with the sleeves cut off, and they are eating some kind of hearty man microwaved dinner, and it is just the first or second weekend where this single father gets to see his son again. His son's 15 years old, and he's so worried how his son's going to react to their new reality, the new normal of him and of his father and his mother being separated and having separate apartments. And they're watching this show, and they're bonding, and they're loving it because this is such a man's man show to watch. And if I was watching with my 15-year-old, we'd be bonding too, because now there's explosions. I like explosions. I like giant pillars of dirt. I like this. This is cool. And I'm so glad that our main guy can't get injured. Remember, he's been shot. Bet you forgot that. Me too. He's running around. He's falling on the ground. He's doing everything. He's got a hole in his chest. That's where a lot of muscles are. Anyway, it's a great scene. but it is so ridiculous. Like, if that man was still married to his wife and they weren't sitting in his, crappy third-story apartment, they were still in the double wide he purchased with his wife on the 1.5 acres of land back when he worked at the muffler shop. She wouldn't like this movie because the movie's stupid and there is no romantic anything. This movie is just men shooting guns at other men because it's a man's movie. But all the men are really bad at everything that they do, both the good ones and the bad ones. But then, once they start becoming good, they get so much better at what they do. I'm going to explain more in a moment. So, they're running along, explosions everywhere, lots of bombs, and finally, Mike Cena catches Scotty. And he catches him in a truck, and Scotty's like, I got a grenade. And if you shoot me, I'm going to pull the pin, and then we're both going to die. And I'm like, he could shoot you in the head. Poof, and you just, fall. And yeah, maybe you let go of the grenade. You could just walk over there and kick it away. Or if it falls under the truck and he's like, I got 5 seconds here. Because I think it's 5. Maybe it's 2. I got 2 seconds. I ain't catching that grenade. I'm going to run that way. And then you just run that way. Great movie I watched one time. Where this guy is in Afghanistan. And he's sitting in the room with this man who has 2 different colored eyes, and a grenade comes through the window. And the man with 2 different colored eyes just gets up and calmly walks over to the grenade and picks it up and pushes the handle back down, holds it, and then takes something out and puts the pin back in place and lets go. And it's like he just fixed it. Maybe it was a paper clip. And it's like, boom, there you go. And I'm like, can you do that? Can you just do that to a grenade? I didn't know you could do that to a grenade. Is that what you're supposed to hold the grenade? I don't know anything about grenades. This is beneficial to me because I don't want to be explosives guy. I want to be driver guy. I know all about. Listen to my facts I did earlier about the car and the door being open and the gasoline being spent. That's some seriously good car facts. I could be the driver guy. That's all I'm saying. I'd be like, guys, the efficiency is better if you close. And they'd be like, just close the door. Close it. When you get out, close the door. He likes the door closed. Just close the door. I know I'm not arguing with you, Scotty. I'm not arguing with you, Scotty. But he likes the door closed. When you leave the car, close the door. It is your turn to get gas. You have to close the door. And Scotty's going to be just a dick about it. I can just feel it. Scotty's that kind of guy. So, Scotty's going to blow himself up. But, lo and behold, the grenade gets out of his hand, and John Cena, fights him a little bit, and he's all like, you have to help me because I'm going to kill him and save us. And John, and he's like, Raul threatened my life. And I'm like, does Raul have, again, he didn't have 75 dudes show up and make you a koi pond in the middle of the desert. He just showed up and put a gun in your face. Anyone can do. I've had that. I've had a gun pointed at me. Happened at my friend's house. I was 17 years old. I didn't know any better. I was in his house. His dad was pissed because somebody scratched one of his horror movies that every week he would rent all this stuff from Movie Gallery. Then he would go into his little side bedroom and he would rip them all and make burned copies and then download those to hard drives. Then he would return all the Movie Gallery movies and he'd sell the hard drives to his friends who came by his house, and they picked up their own little hard drive, and they would get the new 60 movie releases that week. It was just a wonderful little grift the guy had going on. Totally illegal. He was, of course, a prison guard. I watched this man break multiple felonies. Terrible person. And but his son was a cool kid, and he didn't have a lot of friends, and so I befriended him, and we played World of Warcraft together. Life was good. I was a dwarf hunter. My favorite class, Alliance. So we scratched one of his horror movies because we're very bad at putting them back because we're teenagers. And he gets so mad at this. He points a gun at me and he tells me to get out of his house. And I'm like, okay, fine. I was pissed at him too. I was like, dude, you're walking around here drunk with a gun. It's my house. I can do what I want to do. I was like, yeah, but dude, you're pointing the gun at me. Just out with your mag light. Because I always carried mag light. And I just left. I was done. I was like, okay, bye. And I left. So it was messed up. So I'm not scared of that guy. I don't think that guy's coming after me. I'd scratch his DVDs a second time. What's he gonna do? That's, you can't, I'm in law school. It would be a bad idea to scratch his DVDs generally. He does have damages at that point. But then, somebody's going to ask the question, but you burned these and you don't own them. You rented them. Yeah, well, technically you rented the license to watch it for a short period of time. You did not rent the full experience for that time. You really need to own a copy to legally make a copy. So, this is interesting. Do you want to talk about the potential hundreds of felonies on that shelf, good sir? Because we can discuss every one of those. Why am I even talking about him? Because Raul threatened Scotty. And I'm like, just getting a gun pointed at you does not mean that you now have to kill your best bud, old friend, Bigfoot guy here, Randy Orton. And so him and Randy Orton make up and they bro hug. And Scotty has a magical ability because he has an endless amount of grenades. He has every grenade in the state of Wiskuta, because that's where we're at. We're in Wiskuta. It's just nameless, sort of westerny, kind of Texas, but not Texas, but maybe Texas, but maybe not Texas. Who knows where we are? So, now we have the three guys together, and the dad shows back up. I think at this point he punched his dad out. Like, he punched his dad and knocked him out because he was going to go do something. I don't even know. So, they're together, dream team. And police officer pulls over, and they're going to get arrested again. But instead, they get the upper hand, and Scotty comes back, and they have the cop handcuffed, and then they blow up his vehicle. And I say to my wife, my God, did they just assassinate a police officer? Now, this is important, because I say those words, my God, did they just assassinate a police officer? Or did they attempt to assassinate a police officer? And Google comes on, because I said the words, my God. So, of course, my Google TV thinks I'm talking to it now. What does that tell you about the sense of technology modern day? Google kicks on and searches that term on YouTube. So, welcome to a list, population me, because I'm on that list now. I'm sitting here thinking of all the court cases I learned about in criminal law where they're like, and his Google search history said this, and his Google hurt. And I'm like, dude, I just said that out loud. What other weird things has my Google caught from my living room and decided to Google, It's terrifying. Maybe I need a new TV that doesn't want to Google stuff. But damn it. I like telling it to play Netflix. And then it does it. It is convenient. But then it Googled, they tried to attempt a police officer. And what we got was a bunch of videos with that at the top. And the videos were, police officer helps little girl away from fire. Police officer, comforts a young mother whom he just saved from whatever. And I'm like, those are fun little short videos of cops doing nice things. But that's kind of weird that's like the top results. Like Google's trying to hide something there. Like, there's definitely some kids playing cops and robbers, and they have that video somewhere, or adults playing cops and robbers and had that video somewhere. So anyway, that was very funny. I took a picture of it. It's insane. We continue on, and it turns out that the map that they have, so it's the dream team. It's Scotty, it's Randy Orton, Randy Orton's dad, and Hench. Combat specialist guy, and they're all driving to Raul's warehouse, which is where they're supposed to meet. And Raul has been upset with his drone operator, and he's like, you have to, the drone operator's like, man, you should be there when you take him down. Old Bigfoot over here standing over his corpse like you're a big game hunter, you know what I mean? And he's like, you were trained in an Alabama public school, then you went to Alabama University and got some kind of IT degree. I can smell it. Also, your accent. And he points the gun at the guy's head and goes, are you scared of me? Are you making fun of me? Because I'm to be feared. And I was like, if you really wanted to be feared, this isn't how you do it. You get about 75 guys that are well trained in landscaping with a specialty in the Midwest. Because we're in Wiskuta. And Wiskuta ain't like nowhere else, okay? So, you got to get these 75 guys, you got to get them trained. And then you got to go to people's homes. And within an hour, you have to completely change. I'm not going to bring up the koi pond again. But you got to give him like a rock garden or something. And not a cheap one, a good one. And that's how people fear you. It's like, dude, look at all the good stuff he can do in an hour. Imagine what kind of... It's so much easier to do something bad. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, build a koi pond around someone's trailer. You can destroy that trailer in less than 2 minutes. Like, if you can build a koi pond in an hour, you can take that trailer off the face of planet Earth in less than 2 minutes. 75 guys, I guarantee it. They'd be cutting stuff up, and it'd be crazy. So anyway, it's easier to destroy. That's what I'm saying. So you get them to fear you by creating. They're all there. They're attacking the facility. This facility's way too clean. The inside of the facility is just full of bloodthirsty gamblers. Physically there. Just like the first time. The outside of the facility has a Travis. Now, Travis is like sitting there, and he's gonna, he's sniping at the guy or whatever. But the guy, he's looking for him, but he doesn't see him. And all of a sudden, Randy Orton walks up, and Randy Orton's like there, and Randy Orton's like, "Don't do it. You're my brother." And Travis is like, "I have to." And he tries, and then Randy Orton shoots him in the chest, and that's the end of Travis. But I think that Travis should have been sniping, and he should have been sniping Randy. And Randy should have been fighting Raul, hand-to-hand combat, and he picks him up, and Raul's got that knife coming down at Randy's face, and Randy's like, "No!" And then, out of anywhere, and then the guy just collapses, and the knife like sticks next to Randy's face, and Randy looks over, and there's Travis standing on him. Just like a bird whistle, and then the sign, and he's all like, "I knew you'd never betray me. I love you." And then Travis is like, "I love you too." He holds up the 2, and then that's the movie. So him and Travis were always meant for each other. That's not what happens, though. So he kills Travis. They storm the party. He kills Raul in hand-to-hand combat or whatever, and Raul dies. And the police are just so very, very happy that this guy who's been convicted of a felony and he's just murdered. He murdered the guy in the bar. He murdered his friend in the desert. He murdered Travis. Who else dies? The police officer gets shot in the back. At least one officer dies in that horrible explosion. Yeah, technically, maybe only 4 people die in this whole movie. I'm sure some soldiers get shot. So let's just say 7 people. Let's just round up and down to 7 people die. And he's already been convicted of like 2nd-degree manslaughter, 1st-degree manslaughter. I can't remember what degree the manslaughter was, but it's not, it's got that delayed 2 years, which if he doesn't get in trouble, it'll go away after 2 years. And then he's got like 10 years probation tacked onto that. And it's like, dude, this guy has held a gun so many times. I don't believe it matters. At some point, he probably would say the words he felt safe and could have left. The minute that comes out, this guy's getting snapped up. Like, this is not a happy ending. He's going to jail, and he's going to jail for a while because he broke his probation with multiple additional felonies that like are just going to be part of it because they have that drone footage now. But the movie ends with them walking away, and it's Scotty and Hench and this guy and his dad. Remember, this guy is going to go to prison for a long time. We can only assume Scotty and Hench got some kind of deal close to this deal. The dad's the only one that's going to still be out after all this. And probably not. I mean, he's probably taken a life. He'll be investigated. But he's got friends in Washington, so he's going to try to smooth this over. Of course you do. And so they're talking about, Johnson and Sons bounty hunter service, and that's where the movie ends. And it is just a hard cut to credits. And the first name that pops up is like directed and cinematography by Filet, first year film student. Second scene is Mike Cena, playing Randy Orton, playing Bigfoot Bloodshed. And then, the third one is Gary Busey, Bigfoot's father. And then just the name of everybody else. And Steve Gomez as Raul. Now, here's what they did differently. Okay, let's do the rundown. Let's hit all the high points if we can. They took it off an island. They put it in the desert. They took away the competition aspect, and they gave us a death game of a different sort because you had 5 or 6 former friends who now had to kill each other. And the survivor gets to live. They will definitely die. And instead of having bombs attached to them, they have this ephemeral threat that they will be killed. And you see, that's the thing about them not threatening your family or having a loved one in custody. They weren't going there to release people. Like, I was expecting old Orton's dad to get grabbed at some point, and he would show up in like a trailer, and the trailer would have every trailer is a different person, and as the people die, like, their trailer is lowered into the water and there's little holes in it, and then there's a camera so they can see the water flooding in to destroy the family of the individual who just failed. And it would be a horrible thing to do, but the people in the bunker, they love it. They love that concept. They think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And the issue is that did not occur. What did occur instead is just they have to kill each other or they're gonna die. Just like that. And old Raul backed this up by showing up one time and pointing a gun at him and saying, if you don't do it, I'm going to kill you. And that's their motivation. In the original Condemned, they had a bomb on their foot that would go off. And that was the motivation. Now, they did try to connect the two movies because at one point Raul says, there was a man who had an island once and he made them fight to the death. That's what I want to build. And I was like, then why didn't you take him to an island and put a bomb on him and make them fight to the death? And maybe blow one of them up first and foremost, like they do in Battle Royale, to show the rest of them that it's a real thing and it could happen to you. You know what I mean? Just take your original idea and make it better. They took the original idea and then they did something completely different. And I'm like, this isn't the Scream franchise. You can't do that. You have to take the original idea and you have to do it better. You know what I mean? And I believe they did that in the Scream franchise. Scream 2, not sure where it fits on the hierarchy. Let me know down below. So they changed the entire concept. That changes the movie, and that changes the concept of the Condemned, because no one here is condemned. Like, that's the point of Condemned. And honestly, at the end, 3 of the 6 people live, and 1 person is responsible for killing 3 team members. Maybe you shouldn't follow that person anymore, and they don't have to, because that person, old Mike Cena, is going to go away a long time. I can feel it in my legal bones, but that's not legal advice. I'm in law school. It's what I do. So, basically, he broke a lot. Well, you know what? Number 2. So that's number 1. They changed the premise. It was bad. Number 2, it's an unlikable hero. I have no reason to like Randy Orton Bigfoot over here. He's not personable. He did not have a save the cat moment. Instead, he had a kill an old man moment. Go ahead and have yourself given a felony moment. Don't even try to fight back against the man. Just let the man step on you. And then once the man continues to insult you, just roll with it, because that's what you should do. And you should always respect the judge. That's not legal advice. Always respect the judge. You find yourself not respecting the judge, you need to stop yourself and start asking serious questions about life. Because that's this. Don't do that. Don't do that. But anyway, old Mr. Orton, he did not have a save the cat moment. He did not have as he's a tow truck driver, he pulls over and, the mother has the 2 kids in the car and she's like, I just can't pay. I can't afford it. I'm so sorry. And he's like, don't you worry about it. Nah, I'm driving that way anyway. Have him hop in the front. And then a funny scene where she's like on her phone in the front of his tow truck as the kids are like bouncing in the seat beside, or not bouncing in the seat. We want them to be safe. They're in a car seat, but like one of them like dumps a bunch of milk on his lap. Something comedic, something fun that shows, oh, this guy, he's a good guy. He does good things for good people, and he doesn't complain about it either. And then even though his boss gets mad at him, he just takes $50 out of his paycheck and he puts it in her till, and he's like, sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he just shows us that he is as thick as a brick multiple times. And then when the one nice guy shows up, Hench shows up, and I'm like, I got a good vibe about Hench. The first thing Randy does is Randy like punches him in the face and puts him against the tree. Like, you're gonna kill me too. And I'm like, dude, yeah, I mean, that's how you should have approached the second man you saw that day. Once you see the third one, you're just all like, hey, dude, I can't possibly get 3 killers in a row here. That's not how this game works. You obviously are nice to me. If he wanted you to die, he would have assisted the sniper, don't you think? I'm just saying. Although he would have had to have killed the sniper, and then he would have had to have gotten Scotty. And Scotty, that's a wily one right there. Now Raccoon was a weak link. Just a weak link. Because he did something nonsensible. So that's the third thing. The nonsense. Raccoon gives him the map before he tries to kill him. Why did he do that when instead of giving him the map, could have just shot him in the stomach right there? Like, the guy wasn't expecting it, you know? You ever seen that Key and Peele skit where he's like doing a rap battle and he's a hype man? It's an absolute delight, and it's horrific. And that's what I was thinking when I was watching that scene. I was like, you could just tell Mr. Cena to look out there at the desert and give you a good rah, and then but he didn't, and he gave him a map instead, a map that led him to Raoul at the end. Fourth problem with this movie, the villain isn't villainous. He's just kind of mean. He's kind of a mean bully, but he's not villainous. He's doing this for profit. They bring up profit. There's a lot of profit. It's all about money. But does he need the money? Does he even care about the money? Doesn't seem like he cares about anything except killing John Cena or Randy Orton, whoever this person is at this point in my life. So I would have liked him better if he was just there for the love of the game. Like, everybody else was betting and stuff, but he just got on the microphone. He's like, and the house isn't taking a cut. This is between you and whoever you're betting against, you know? And that would have been cool, because that means he's just doing this to bring people together. He is threatening 6 human lives and 1 policewoman's life. She's also a human, so 7 human lives. But, I mean, I can't include the life of everyone else who was threatened. There's a lot of soldiers, you get what I'm saying? But she died, and he's kind of threatening the lives of these gang members in the bounty hunter gang. And he's doing it for profit. But if he was doing it just because he really wanted to see the world burn, that would have been such a better villain. I'm just saying, I'm not telling you how to write your story. Steve Gomez is a good actor. Have you seen him in that show, the name of which I cannot remember, Breaking Bad? He played a great character. I loved that character. I felt it. That's a good show, and he is a good actor. So you clearly have people with talent. Randy Orton could have been John Cena if Fillet was not giving him his first directorial debut, and if the book was not so tragic. And when I say tragic, I don't mean like a good tragedy, like a Greek tragedy or Roman tragedy. I mean like a Hungarian tragedy. Like, have you ever heard of a Hungarian tragedy? The Ballad of the Yeti, the shaved Yeti of the Alps, like the Hungarian stuff. No, you haven't, because they're not good books. They just don't make good books. They don't make good plays. I love the Hungarian culture. If you're from Hungary, I'll speak to you in your customary language. Hello, because I'm sure they speak English in Hungary. Maybe at least one person. So I got it. Woo. Got yourself out of that one. Not canceled today. So, long and the short of it is, the book is terrible, and the villain is terrible too. So there's a lot of problems with this movie. You didn't need me telling you about the problems, but I think I outlined that plot very well. There is not a single romantic interest, or even the chance of a romantic interest being in his life, unless you include Travis, in which case there is a romantic interest. You have to ask yourself, he shot that police officer dead center back. Like, he blew her away. He's good at what he does. Is the reason that he can't hit Randy because he doesn't want to. He needs to. He knows that there's a part of him, but a part of him pulls every time he goes to squeeze that trigger just ever so slightly. And the moments after that pull, the mere milliseconds, are some of the happiest of Travis's life. Because he was able to do that for Randy. And it was him putting Randy in danger, but it was also him saving Randy. So you have to put yourself in the mind of Travis, in the mind of someone who hurts the ones they love, to show them how much they're loved. That's why in the end, he couldn't not draw on Randy. Because he doesn't know how to just love. He only knows how to attempt to shoot at the things he loves. Always miss. Always miss. Travis, God damn, don't look at me right now. Compose yourself. Oh, guys, I think I'm coming around on Condemned too. I think it might be a love story. Oh, I think it might be a love story after all. Okay, well, that's Condemned 2. Thank you so much for tuning in. If there's a Condemned 3, I'm going to find it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to review it. And Jesus, I want to uncover the 1981 Andre the Giant Condemned movie. I mean, with the villain being Hulk Hogan, how amazing would that be to find out that there's an entire library of wrestling movies out there that we didn't know anything about. I will see you guys next time. I have no idea how long this video is. I think I'm going to keep up with the reggae soundtrack. If you're liking the reggae soundtrack, leave a comment down below. If you're disliking it, which I've seen some thumbs down, so I'm going to assume more thumbs down. I'm going to like switch up the music to something else. Thank you so much for tuning in, and as always, I'll see y'all later. You have a good one, and goodbye.